This year, the NEET aspirants were not only gearing up for the exams but also for a bizarre dress code that the CBSE board has come up with. The dress code is to counter the rise of cases of mass cheating in various board examinations. The board has now issued various do's and don'ts for the students. What's surprising is that the girl students have been told not to wear inner garments including bras or high heels. Other than that, students have been told not to wear full sleeve clothes, socks or even shoes. In fact, this is what we'll be discussing now. We want your feedback as well. Harassment to check cheating, mass cheating, is that the right approach? That is something that we want your views on this bizarre dress code that has now been formulated by the CBSE. What does this diktat really mean? Remove bra, no jeans allowed. What does this really mean? Is it sheer harassment or is this strict discipline? So you can call us in on the numbers that are flashing on your screens. 0120-436-9674 is the number where you can call us and share your views. But let's quickly listen into some reactions coming in.
My daughter was objected and sent back saying that the jeans has a button, metallic button which has to be removed. I was forced to run to a shop which is around 3 kilometers away and fetch a leggings for my daughter, get it changed from in the nearby home, and she was brought back. Somehow she could enter. By seeing my daughter leaving the frisking zone towards the school, I was having a sigh of relief. But what I seen next was another shocker. A girl coming from the frisking zone and handing over her mother a bra which she removed from the frisking zone. She was forced to remove the bra, saying that the bra got a metallic portion over it. The mother, she was cursing herself and leaving the place.
In fact, let me quickly bring in my colleague Mugalin from Chennai on this story. Mugalin, just take us to a bizarre diktat there issued by the CBSE, and parents and the examinees, everyone seems to be up in arms, and predictably so.
Exactly. Yesterday, the tough moment for students who appeared for the NEET exam, because very soon when they reached the exam centers, they were asked to remove their slippers, shoes, and earrings, nose rings, everything, and even the students, the cadets who came with full sleeve shirts were asked to cut their full sleeve shirts. We saw parents rushing towards stores to buy scissors, blades to cut off their full sleeve shirts. And yesterday, definitely in Tamil Nadu, there's all been a confusion whether the NEET exam will be there or not. Only with the very last moment, this NEET exam was confirmed, and students were in that mode to prepare for their exams at score well. But when they came to appear for the exam, this was really a tough moment. Yesterday we saw students in a very nervous situation, because it was getting time, because 9:30 all the exams will start. Even till 9:25, we saw students arranging their dress to gain entry inside the exam hall. Back to you.
Well, that's right, Mugalin. But also just take us through, we now know that in Kannur, for instance, there have been reports that a female security personnel asked a girl student to remove her undergarments as well to ensure that she isn't carrying any cheating material with her. So this is absolutely bizarre, to say the least. What do you have to say regarding, what the ground reaction really has been?
Exactly. Yesterday's incident
says that there should not be any metal objects should be carried inside the exam hall. When the girl was scanned with the handheld X-ray scanner, there was a beep in the innerwear. That is because of the hook in the innerwear. So the woman invigilator who was standing there asked her to remove the innerwear. This was highly condemned by the opposition parties here. Today we saw DMK working president Mr. Stalin calling it as indeplorable and unimaginable, and even he termed it as a barbaric act, and he also insisted necessary action should be taken on the invigilators who enforce these actions on them.
In fact, this is not an isolated case there. Mugalin, request you to stay on with us. For our viewers, let's also quickly tell them what is happening, because according to reports coming in Kannur, Kerala, the story that we were discussing, the female security personnel asked a girl student to remove her undergarments to ensure that she wasn't carrying any cheating material. And it was now also reported that other girls too faced similar harassment at the hands of the security staff when they went in to appear for the examinations. In fact, we heard a harrowing tale really coming in from a father who, a mother who we spoke with also said that my daughter went inside the center only to return later and hand me her top innerwear. So you can understand what kind of shock really the parents and the students really went through, the examinees. Just take us through any reactions that are coming in from the CBSE which issued the circular in the first place. Have they come up with any justification as to what prompted them to come up with such a bizarre diktat? Mugalin, if you could hear me what I was saying, that I was asking you any reaction there which is coming from the CBSE board as far as this particular circular is concerned, because this is something which has sparked national outrage.
From morning we are trying to contact CBSE officials, but nobody have turned up. But this has created an outrage among the public and the political parties, because we saw really what happened yesterday. There were tense moments for the students yesterday to gain entry, and moreover the scrutiny for the students who entered the hall was more severe, because they were put into series of tests to check whether they have anything which was banned by the CBSE exam board.
Well, Mughal, request you to stay on with us because we are now joined by Mr. Matthew from Bengaluru over the phone line. Mr. Matthew, share your views on this. This is a story that we are now putting out for our viewers, where a bizarre dress code has shocked students and parents alike, with people coming out up in arms against this diktat that has been issued by the CBSE.
A very good evening. This is really bizarre and a little barbaric. It's really shocking, you know, to the level in this digital India where we are moving to. See, the officials concerned should be definitely called for, and an explanation is required. And the concerned people who have made these students by crossing all these limits should be punished for what they have done. And it is really amazing, and really I'm amused why these people have to go to this level. It's not an international flight where, you know, you're checking the terrorists whether they've got anything in their hand or something like that. See, if what they need is, it is very simple, basic knowledge. We have all studied through these tests and all, but we never required all these things. It's a fact that there are unscrupulous elements in this student community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matthew, for joining us with your views. Let me also quickly get in another voice, activist Brinda Adige also with us. Ma'am, how do you see this diktat? How do you read this diktat? So far, we haven't heard a single word there from the CBSE in defense of this order.
Atrocious and human rights violation, and violation of modesty of a woman, outraging the modesty of a woman. I do not know what I have to say for the male students and the invigilators also, who were apparently stripped and checked. What is this? What have we reached? Who is this who's allowing this kind of a shameless act to be conducted on people going to write their exam? These are students. How dare you harass them further? If this is not an atrocity, what else is it? What is the administration doing? What are the elected representatives doing? Why are they not taking action? How come these institutions are allowed, given so much of free hand to harass students?
As you're pointing out, but no answers yet from the CBSE. Very precisely, if you could just quickly tell us that, what do you feel should be CBSE's approach now? Because this, as you rightly put it, it is something which is atrocious to say the least.
No, they need to apologize, and a case has to be registered on everybody concerned. The institutions, the people conducting the exam, and of course the people who stripped and checked, they also need to have a case filed on them. Because this just amounts to not simply harassing, but mental torture and physical torture.
Well, that's right. Ma'am, request you to stay on with us. We're also now joined by Kalpana Ravi from Mumbai. Kalpana, just take us through, what would you have to say to this diktat that has been now issued by the CBSE as far as the examinees are concerned?
I was shocked. I really don't know what to say, because this is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, are we on an international airport where we are stripped and searched because, we have a visa of a certain country? I mean, these are students. We are already stressed by the stupid exam stress which we put our kids through. And on top of this strip and search, I mean, it's amazing. And, you know, women students not being allowed to wear undergarments. I mean, if you can't control mass cheating or whatever is happening in the exam centers, you can't let these children go through these things. They are young, impressionable minds. They come there to write an exam. They're already being stressed out to study. And on top of that, come to the center and be doing all these things is the most bizarre thing. I think all of them, a case should be filed. Somebody should put a PIL and get all these idiots, whoever has given them these instructions, to be put behind bars. This is absolute torture, and I can understand what the male students also must be going through. I mean, what? Next they would say not to wear clothes and come for exams. I mean, is that going to be the next diktat? I really don't know. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for joining us with your views. If I could go back to Brinda Adige once again, activist who joins us from Bengaluru. In fact, let me first bring in my colleague Mugalin over here on the broadcast once again. Mugalin, now we saw that this is something predictably which has sparked national outrage, with everyone calling in, for strong action essentially against the CBSE board. So, in fact, clearly, this is something, Mugalin, quickly, if you could just tell us that when can we expect a statement, if at all, from the CBSE on this?
Exactly. From morning, we are trying to contact the concerned officials to get a reply on it. But what the officials they maintain is that we spoke with the officials unofficially. What they said is they have strictly followed the rules what given to them. They say that there are certain rules and regulations prescribed by the CBSE exam board, and they simply followed. This is what been their stand. But they're not divulging any other information. But we can expect, because this is now turning to be a national outage, anytime we can expect a proper explanation from the CBSE board.
Let me also quickly bring in another caller from Mani Rai, who's calling us from Odisha. Mr. Rai, just take us through, what do you feel now? What, in your opinion, should be the way forward as far as CBSE is concerned?
I wish to record my anguish over this bizarre kind of thing with which this CBSE board has come, and why the Indian media is not taking them upfront. The most impressionable segment of society are the students. They are the future, and they are subjected to such kind of suspicion and such kind of bizarre act.
Right. In fact, if I could also quickly bring in Mr. K. Shankar, who joins us from Mumbai. Very quickly, sir, your reaction to this bizarre diktat, the dress code that has now been circulated by the CBSE?
That is absolutely stupid. Children, if they are resorting to unfair means for copying, you have to be innovative to trace them out. You cannot come out with such stupid rules saying that they should not wear bra and undergarments. What happens to a dress code then? When you say that children should not be wearing provocative dresses, you have to come naked to the examination. It is just stupid. It can't just happen. Whosoever has done, that person should be thrown out on the street.
Right.
Who is trying to bring out this code.
So, India visibly outraged, India in anguish over this bizarre dress code that has now been circulated by the CBSE. We'll have to wait and watch and see if the CBSE, in fact, reverses this circular, if this circular is at all taken back. But now moving on.